When I waked up in the morning and I hear the touch of the soldiers marching in from the front, I looked out in the window, then I see the Nazi mark. The Germans invading us. This was our life forever, by minutes, just changing everything. We put a horse in a cattle car. The next stop was Auschwitz. What was the Auschwitz? We were asking each other, nobody knows. And when I look out in the little tiny opening, I say, oh my God, crazy people is there. One of them is almost naked, and they are screaming, take everything what you have with you, and eat everything right now, because they will take away from you. We had all German soldiers around us, and they said, you are not human being for me, and with a horrible face. I said, take out the clothes, you don't want to be dead right away. And he had already the gun in his hand. At night, we were sleeping in 3 level. All of a sudden, we have a daylight, and we see a huge fire going up in the sky. And we all jumped, everybody down from the bed, and was screaming, fire, fire, fire. She says, don't scream, this is the crematorium. And he said, what is the crematorium? The crematorium is all your family went to left, burning their body now. The body smelled, because they burned the body day and night after the gas. This was the most cruel I ever heard in my life. My father says, we never know who survived. You have to learn something. Take a deep hole in the garden. We put in all the prayer books, golden coins, your mother jewelry, and my wedding ring. After the liberation, I find my prayer book, the gold, everything. 87 person in my family was died. My grandparents, all my aunt of uncles, nobody else who went to Auschwitz survived. I am Elizabeth Ungar Lefkowitz. I am survivor of Auschwitz.
I had my 17th birthday in Auschwitz.
Edith Eva Eager is a survivor.
Even though I was told every day, you're never going to get out of here alive. The only way you get out of here is as a corpse. And I said to myself, oh yeah, I know better, yeah.
In Hitler's death camps, she witnessed the worst of humanity. And yet somehow, 70 years later, she continues to focus on the brighter side of life.
I want to have a full life, not to be damaged goods.
Eager was only a teenager and already an accomplished ballet dancer and gymnast when Hungarian Nazis rounded up her family because they were Jews. They ended up packed in a train headed for the Auschwitz concentration camp in Nazi-occupied Poland.
My mom held me in the cattle car and said, we don't know where we're going. We don't know what's going to happen. Just remember, no one can take away from you what you put here in your own mind.
Upon arrival, Eager says her mother and father were immediately ordered into the gas chambers by Dr. Joseph Mengele, a camp medical officer who became known as the Angel of Death.
And I followed my mom. And Dr. Mengele grabbed me. I never forget that eye contact. And he said, you're going to see your mother soon. She's just going to take a shower.
Eager's parents were murdered in the gas chambers of Auschwitz, along with hundreds of thousands of others. But that wasn't Eager's last encounter with one of the Holocaust's worst war criminals.
So Dr. Mengele came to the barracks and wanted to be entertained.
The ballerina was ordered to dance for the man who murdered her parents.
And I was so scared, so I closed my eyes and I pretended that the music was Tchaikovsky. And I was dancing the Romeo and Juliet in the Budapest Opera House.
Somehow Eager survived Auschwitz, as well as disease, death marches, and slave labor.
When my little girl was born, and there is the baby here,
A year after being rescued by U.S. soldiers, Eager married another Jewish survivor of the war. And soon after, the young family emigrated to the U.S., where eventually she embarked on an entirely new career.
And during a very, very, very challenging times,
She became a clinical psychologist, specializing in the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. Now 87, she draws from her own traumatic experience to help treat patients at her home in California.
They are not grandchildren.
great-grandchildren.
This former ballerina's great-grandchildren are her greatest pride and joy.
4 generations, that's the best revenge to Hitler I can think of. Yes, I'm here, and I'm so happy that I'm able to talk to you.
Ivan Watson, CNN, La Jolla, California.
We're looking here at the ruins of these gas chambers, these crematoriums.
Yeah.
So Eva, tell me, what do you remember? You were just a little girl, 10 years old.
We knew from the smell. It smelled like burning flesh and burning hair, and the smoke was rising high above the structure. And we actually knew that most of our families probably ended up here. The other kids who were in the barrack, that first night we arrived, they said, "Look there, see the smoke and the flames?" I said, "Well, your families must be burning right now there." And I said, "That's not possible. Burning people, that is crazy."
So Eva, this was the barrack that you lived in, something like this?
Yes, it was my home almost 9 months. So I entered the place. We went to the latrine, which was at the end of the barrack. There on the filthy latrine floor were the scattered corpses of 3 children. Right then and there I made a silent pledge that I will do anything and everything to not end up on the filthy latrine floor.
Eva, tell us what was going on in this building.
We used to be brought here 3 times a week. They would tie both of my arms to restrict the blood flow and give me a minimum of 5 injections into my right arm. The content of those injections we didn't know then, nor do I know today. But after one of those injections, I became very ill. Next morning, Dr. Mengele came in. He turned to the other doctors and said, laughing sarcastically, he said, "Too bad. She's so young. She has only 2 weeks to live." It was late in the afternoon. A woman ran in yelling at the top of her voice, "We are free, we are free, we are free." And then at a distance, I could see lots of people. They were all smiling. They gave us chocolate, cookies, and hugs. And this was my first day of freedom. My name is Eva Moses. I am a survivor of Auschwitz.
In 1993, they called it the storm of the century. A major nor'easter hit the entire eastern third of the United States. Severe weather in the south and blizzards in the north. For the first time in history, all major eastern airports were shut down at the same time. The storm caused more than 300 deaths. In January 1996, the eastern seaboard was hit by another major nor'easter right on the heels of a government shutdown that put most federal employees on leave. Heavy snowfall and blizzard conditions hit cities from Washington to New York to Boston. 9 states were declared disaster areas. 60 people died in that storm. The Great Blizzard of 2003 started with snow in the Rockies on February 14th. Cold temperatures and strong winds turned the storm into a full-blown nor'easter that reached its full intensity on President's Day, February 17th. More than 2 feet of snow covered parts of Maryland all the way north to southern New England. Dangerous ice conditions hitting the Carolinas and Virginia. 42 people were killed in this storm. The biggest winter storm in New York City history hit in February of 2006. A system that dumped snow across the Northeast from Virginia to Maine. 26.9 inches of snow was recorded in Central Park by the end of the storm, the largest amount of snowfall to date. 3 back-to-back blizzards hit the Northeast in February of 2010, each storm bringing prolonged periods of heavy snowfall. By the end of the last one, 68% of the country was covered in snow. Anderson Cooper, CNN.